Hey there. I figure by now anybody that's ever watched any of my videos that I put up on three different accounts would certainly acknowledge or know why on a number of occasions I've talked about the importance of I'm simply sharing what I've experienced by what I've learned through that experience. So when we're learning through each other, the virtue of why we're all connected with each other, what it is that we're all experiencing together, what we're learning through each other, the direction that we're all going in together, because there isn't any separation between what you are and what I am. And consciousness connected with each other like webs. Okay? The communication platform of the entire cosmos, which means the one is everywhere simultaneously, so you can't escape the first one, because that's an eternal spirit of fire, which is eternal light. So that light is everywhere. Yeah. And so what that means is when you're experiencing that as a 4-year-old little child, I'm experiencing the torque speed differential between resistors and capacitors on a motherboard. Okay. So I try and keep it simple as I possibly can. So I realized when I was a child, when you're performing a mission, you don't want to sacrifice or compromise your team or yourself as a result of what we say or how we communicate to somebody else when you're experiencing being non-polarized consciousness, which is preface, because I'm fully integrated oversoul. Okay, so I don't compete. I don't play head games. I don't compete with people to try and add numbers up. We're not inverters. We are the highest speed accelerators. That's what a Christos avatar is, which means I'm an observation post, an observation platform, right? So that's a still point of experiencing eternal peace, eternal calm. When all the nerves are completely relaxed, which means there is zero pH, zero tension in the nerves to let go of every single electron. And that is absolutely no fear to experience absolute, pure, eternal, first internal creation spheres, which is absolute, pure, eternal love that's on fire to create. Now you're experiencing being one with the first one. So now you're co-creating with the one out of what love is, what we experience in our mirror. And that's full spectrum liberation of our consciousness, which means we are free spirits. All the spirits have been freed, which means all the spirits in the molecules, the elementals, the mental kingdom, everything in spirit is now experiencing what love is, because that's what the law is, because that's the law of spheres, which is the law of balance, which is the law of least effort to experience being loved forever and always. Yeah. So when I post things and in people's comments, I'm simply sharing what I've learned through experience. That's neutral. That's called a neutral zone, a neutron window. Yeah. So a lot of times, like what just happened is I spent probably 35, 40 minutes on a guy's website, and I put a lot of information through what I've experienced throughout my lifetime. That's it. That's all I did. And then I got back a response to me with somebody who is the channel holder commenting to me something that was already communicated to him by what I commented, which means if he was able to make a proper translation of experiencing what I was translating by virtue of what I was communicated, he would already know that I know that. You see how that works? Which means it's not necessary for you to tell me that, because if you would have translated what I communicated, you would already know that. Which means it's not necessary to communicate that to me. And you would have known that by properly translating what it is I was communicating. So you see how what happens when you're online, you're working with something that's inverted. You're experiencing an inverted state. Okay? So now it's like I get a mimic back to me of what I was communicating. Now, to sort of neutralize this, right, between acid and alkaline, I know that this particular gentleman, because of what he's communicated freely online, that I know that he's dealing with a lot of anger issues. And what does anger do? generates an enormous amount of resistance to experience what? Being fully integrated. Fully integrated is neutral. So it's one thing to know what neutral is, but it is an entirely different thing to experience being neutral. So this is why I knew as a child, right? I don't refer in this man's case, I'm not making reference to that, but I knew as a child, for example, okay, that they know the ancient spiritual knowledge. That means they can talk the talk, they can speak the talk, right? But this is the invisible landscape, which means it's a war of deception, which means it's an information war, okay? Because we're talking about holographic visual mathematics of what we're experiencing in our mirror by virtue of what? The Metatronic spiral that is inverted and upside down. So it becomes very tricky to navigate your consciousness through what I've always known as a minefield, booby traps, networks trapping you into the system so that you can't get out, can't find your way out, like a maze, right? So when I'm a little child and I'm fully integrated, I'm already at home, right? So it's like Ashaya talked about with the founders, right? You can't put our light out, no matter what they do. Okay, I'm fully integrated, so that would be the equivalent of being a mated chip. Man, you can't ever put that fire out. All right, so I'm one with all creation. And once you become fully integrated, they can't unintegrate you. You're an oversoul. That means you've been mated. I got mated up, so the one mated me up. Mama mated me up. Right? So, two souls get together, you become an oversoul. So I'm an oversoul. That's an eternal blessing.